Hello there, children. It's Mr. P here. I hope this finds you really, really well. Well, the time has come. I'm really excited, and I hope you are too, because it's time to go back to school. Hooray! And this is a presentation for our school's most important people. I wonder if you know who they might be. Who might be the most important people in our school? Well, I hope you guessed it right. It's you, the children. So this is a special presentation just for you, so that you come back to school with a big smile on your face and feeling confident and happy, because some of you, it's been a little while. Well, why can you go back to school? For a little while, many of you have had to stay at home and stay safe, and you have been absolute superheroes. You've given up some of the things that you enjoyed doing, like going to football club or going swimming, and you haven't been able to go and do things like play at the park or see grandparents. And we had to do that because of something called the coronavirus. We had to stay home and stay safe and stop many people from getting poorly. But the good news is, as you might have realised already, we're being allowed to get back to normal, very slowly and very carefully. And as part of that, that means we get to come back to school. So thank you for being wonderful at home with your grown-ups. But now we're really lucky we get to go back to the very best place, school. And I wonder how you're feeling about that. There's lots of feelings here on the screen, isn't there? I wonder if you can look at them and recognise any. And do you know, these feelings are all, whichever ones you identify with, perfectly normal. And even the grown-ups who may be watching this presentation with you will have felt some of those feelings over the past few months. But you know, don't you, or certainly I hope you remember, that feelings are just feelings. They come and they go. We don't have to be afraid of our feelings. We just have to know what they are and use our words to talk about them. So all feelings are okay, and if you have big feelings, and maybe some of the feelings on the screen here, you could talk to a grown-up, or you could talk to someone at school who will listen to you and who will help you. And I know this big feeling in the middle is the feeling we'll all get to by the end of the first week back at school. So, there's going to be some differences when you come back to school. And I've told your mummies and your daddies and the grown-ups you live with all about those changes. So do ask them if you want to know anything else. And we've made these changes not because we want to necessarily, but because we want to make our school a really, really safe place to be. We don't want lots of us getting poorly. So the first change is a bit related to what you see on the screen. You can see lots of bubbles, and each class will form its own bubble. And what that really means is you're going to stay with your class. We're not going to come together in big groups for PE or special events or assemblies for a little while. So your class will be your special bubble, and you will stay together through a school day. Something else that will be different when you come back is how you get into school. There may be a different route to get in, and I've told your grown-ups about them. You will have to wait 2 meters away from other families, and you'll have to be patient. And if you see a friend that you might usually run to and play with before school, you have to stay with the grown-up dropping you off. I know you'll be really good at that. And when your grown-up drops you off at the school gate, if you're in years 1, 2, 3 or 4, you're going to need to pay attention to where you can walk and where you can't walk. But don't worry too much, because there'll be grown-ups in school helping you. Now, here's a lovely classroom in our school, but you might notice something different. The people in charge of schools in our country have said children need to sit side to side, facing the front, and that will help everybody stay safe and well. So you can see there's a lovely classroom there. It's just a little bit of a different layout. When you're in your classroom, you're going to stay in the same seat at all times, and you mustn't get out of that seat without asking for a grown-up's permission. Now, this isn't too different, because what you can do and bring into school in your book bag is your homeschool link. That's what you've always done. A reading book. That's what you've always done. And a named bottle of water. Now, it's really important you bring a bottle of water in, because you won't be able to get up and go for drinks as freely as you otherwise might have done the last time you were in school. But what is different is that is all you can bring in. You might have a rain mat or something else in your bag, but generally that's all you can bring in. What you mustn't bring in are toys from home or teddies which are precious to you. They need to stay at home and stay safe there. And when you get home, they'll be there ready for you. So a little book bag with just those things in will be more than enough. When you get into school, outside each of your classroom doors, there will be some hand sanitizer. And I imagine over the past few months you've got rather good at applying it to your hands and putting it in between your fingers and on the tops and the palms of your hands. It's really important you put that on before you come into school. And I know, again, you'll be amazing. Now, this is rather cool. For a little while in school, you're going to have your own stationery. A little bag or a pot of things that belong to you, that will help you with your learning and that you must look after. Now, we love to share at Cranfield, but for a little while, this is a pot that you won't share with others. And that's again, so that we don't spread any germs that we might not wish to spread. Remember, your pencil pot will be in your seat where you must stay and put your hand up if you need help. Something else that is different is, of course, you can go to the toilet, but sometimes you might have to wait, and sometimes the toilets might be different to the ones you have previously used. Again, don't worry, your teacher will tell you which toilets you can and cannot use. So if you need the toilet, you just pop your hand up and you say politely to your grown-up, "Please may I go to the toilet?" And when you go into the toilets, you might see things like this: no entry. Well, if there's a sign like that, that means you mustn't go in there, but you can use the other toilets. There's a sink here that's been stopped with a cross through it. Again, that means don't use that sink, use the other ones. I'm sure you'll cope. Now, we often wash our hands, don't we? It's really important. And again, I bet you've got really good at it. But in school, we will be asking you to wash your hands regularly. Things at times like before play and before eating and after play. Your teachers really appreciate you being sensible and grown up and doing a really good job of washing your hands. Well, how do we wash our hands really well? If we want to be like doctors who make our hands very, very clean, how do we do that? Let's watch this video and find out.
This video helps make the proper hand washing technique more memorable for little hands. So wet those hands and apply some soap. It's time for my big song!
Rub the palms, 1, 2. Rub the knuckles, 1, 2. Rub the insides of your fingers and the back of them too. Rub the thumbs, 1, 2.
And the nails, 1, 2.
Now time to rinse.
That's what we'll be looking for from you when you wash your hands regularly in school. I wonder if you've seen these posters about. They say catch it, bin it, kill it. Well, they're also around the school, and they are to remind you that if you need to cough or sneeze, you need to catch it in a tissue. You need to put that tissue in a special tissue bin, and then you need to wash your hands again, just like you saw in the video. Here's a lovely tissue snuffle station. You can see there's tissue there for you to cough or sneeze into, and a special bin for the tissues only, and they will be emptied regularly. I'm sure your teacher will tell you exactly where your tissue bin is. Now here's a big difference. Lots of us, don't we, like to have a hug now and again. Sometimes it's to say hello to a teacher or our friends, or just to show that we care for somebody. But at the moment, we're being told to give everybody a little bit of space. So we need to find new ways of showing that we care, saying hello, or showing love. And here's a whole range. I quite like this one. Namaste. But you could also wave, do an air fist bump, do a thumbs up. So I look forward to seeing you at the gate very soon, giving me a friendly hello that isn't a hug. Something else that will be different is play times. You're still going to have play times, so don't worry at all. But it won't be with as many children as you're used to. It will be with your class bubble, and it will be with one other class bubble. So you'll get a little bit of an opportunity there to spend time socially distantly playing with others. We're going to make sure there's lots of things you can do, but games that give each other space, not games where we're very close and we're rolling around together. So the grown-ups on duty will help you with that as well. You're going to have a box of playthings that will be cleaned before and after use, so you'll have plenty to do. And we've been spending some money making the playgrounds even better once again over the summer holiday. If you were in school before the summer, you might remember all of the big equipment being fenced off. That's now allowed, so we have put that equipment on a rota. So you will have to ask your grown-ups, is it our turn for the Trim Trail today, or the Captain Mannering Castle, and so on. Okay, but you will get to use that, which I'm really, really pleased about. Well, the differences keep coming, don't they? But they're all nice differences, really. This difference is that school lunches are going to be a little bit different for a while. You're going to have your school lunch in your classroom, and you're going to have a delivery service. That's a bit posh. There is on our website a special rainbow menu, and each day you're going to be able to choose 2 different options, a meat option or a vegetarian option, and have it delivered to your classroom. Alternatively, you can bring in a packed lunch from home, and if that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine as well. We're not allowed to use the school hall at the moment because there will be too many of us in there, but as soon as we can get our hot dinners up and running again, we absolutely will. Now, if you feel unwell, or a teacher has to help you have some first aid, they might wear some strange clothes so that everybody, the grown-up giving the first aid and you, can stay safe. And I'm going to show you some pictures of Mr. P putting on some of those silly clothes. And they're called PPE, Personal Protective Equipment. And they are an apron, a face mask, some gloves, and possibly even a face shield. And it looks a bit strange, doesn't it? But there's nothing to be worried about when the grown-up does that. They're just doing that so that germs don't spread from you to them or from them to you. And underneath all of those silly clothes are the adults who care for you all of the time. They just look a little bit different for a little while. You might even want to have a giggle at them. Now, that's that. The main thing is that what you will see in school is your wonderful teachers and have lots of opportunities to enjoy, achieve and learn once again, and I know you're going to be fantastic. At the end of the school day, this is really important because often it can be the time where we run off, play with our friends, go on the equipment. For now, we mustn't do that. Our grown-ups can pick us up from the playground, but we must go straight to them and we must walk straight out of school in the way that we have been asked to walk out of school. And that's to give everybody else space and time to be picked up as well. So I'm going to be watching, and Mrs. Dormer and Mrs. Massey are going to be watching for you being really fantastic at the end of the day. And when you get home, you need to wash your hands really well again. You need to tell Mum and Dad about your super day and all the brilliant things that happened. And then you need to have a rest because you'll need it. Now, if you're a grown-up child and you're thinking, well, it's nearly time to go back to school. I've had a jolly time at home. I'm a little bit out of routine. How can I help myself be ready for back to school? Well, I'm going to give you some advice. I want you to practice coughing or sneezing into your elbow or into a tissue. Catch it, bin it, kill it. I want you to start getting up a little bit earlier. Maybe you already do, and Mum and Dad don't want you to get up any earlier. But if you're somebody like Mrs. P and you like a lie-in, start practicing getting up a little bit earlier. Why don't you do some writing or some work at home and practice doing it on your own? You won't be able to have as much help as you might have at home in a classroom of 30. So see if you can do things and work things out yourself. I wonder if you've still been having story times every single day in the summer holiday. If not, start now. Get listening and learning with some wonderful books in your house. Are you really good at being patient and staying with your grown-up? If not, have a little practice. Practice washing your hands. And if you've got any questions, why don't you ask your grown-up? And if they don't know the answer, they can ask me. Well, it's time to go back to school. I cannot wait to see you all. I want to see your big smiles. I want to see you being brilliant in your classrooms again. And isn't it going to be wonderful to have St. Peter's site and St. Paul's site filled with the wonderful children that you are? I hope that helped you feel confident. Big smiles. See you soon.